Hello and welcome to Special Trees Payroll class. I'm Cathy Wojtas, your payroll clerk, and I'll be guiding you through your payroll experience. Our class overview today will be looking at shift differentials, payroll schedule, PTO rules, pay time off schedule, time off requests, e-time, how to get paid. We'll look at a paycheck overview, expense reports, and on-shift wallet. You'll want to locate the shift differential form from your new hire packet. Once you've found that, we'll review the shift differentials. Starting on the list is regular pay. That runs from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and during that time, you'll receive your base rate for the hours worked. Shift 2, or the afternoon shift, runs from 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. Monday through Friday. During that time, you'll get your base rate and an additional 5% for your hours worked. Shift 3, or the midnight shift, runs from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Sunday through Thursday. During that time, you'll also get your base rate and an additional 5% for any hours worked. Shift differentials shown apply to most direct care staff. Differentials change according to the time that a staff is punched in and not necessarily to their scheduled shift. So the example would be someone working from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. A staff would receive regular pay from 7 to 3, and then they would receive shift 2 pay from 3 to 7. Exempt staff, administrative staff, and most Monday through Friday staff receive regular pay for all of their hours worked until they've reached 40 hours, and then overtime begins. Day treatment staff team members receive 5% differentials pay Monday through Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 a.m. Dietary, housekeeping, and laundry staff receive regular pay from 11 p.m. Sunday all the way through 11 p.m. on Friday. We touched on the regular shifts, which are on the left side of the screen, and then on the right side would be the overtime. So once you hit overtime, working 40 hours in the week, you'll receive an additional 1.5 times your pay at whatever the rate was that you would have been making. So your overtime regular would be your base pay at 1.5 times. Shift 2 overtime is going to be your base pay with the extra 5% times 1.5. And then shift 3 overtime is again your base rate at the additional 5% at time and a half your hours worked. We're now going to look at the weekend and overtime for weekends. Weekend day, regular time runs 7 a.m. Saturday to 3 p.m. Saturday, and then again 7 a.m. Sunday to 3 p.m. Sunday. During this time, you'll get your base rate and an additional 3%. For weekend shifts 2 and 3, or your afternoon or midnight shifts, those are going to give you your base rate and the additional 8%. So that's the 5% that you normally would be making plus the additional 3% for the weekends. And those time frames run from 11 p.m. on Friday to 7 a.m. on Saturday, and then 3 p.m. Saturday to 7 a.m. Sunday, and then 3 p.m. Sunday to 11 p.m. Sunday. Once you've hit your 40 hours for the week, you'll bump over to overtime, and so it would be the base rate with 3% time and a half for any weekend day time overtime, and then the weekend shifts 2 and 3 for overtime is going to be your base rate with the 8% times time and a half. So your day treatment team members, dietary, housekeeping, and laundry staff will receive 3% differentials on the weekends from 11 p.m. Friday to 11 p.m. Sunday. Holiday worked pay is also included on the shift differential sheet, and holiday worked pay is time and a half in addition to any other differentials. So it's very similar to the overtime calculations. This is now the 2020 payroll schedule on the screen. And you look at this, you'll see when a pay period begins, when it ends, and then the pay date. For 2020, we'll be paying you always on a Friday, with the exception of the last pay date of the year. On December 31st is a Thursday because the 1st is a holiday and that is a bank holiday, so we are paying you one day early. So you just want to note that a new day here at Special Tree begins at 11 p.m. rather than midnight, and pay periods always end on a Saturday at 11 p.m. So whichever day is showing underneath the pay period ends, that is going to be at 11 p.m. on that day. So at 11:01, that will start the next pay period. Any payroll changes must be submitted by 5 p.m. on the Monday of the pay week. So whatever day you see this pay date, this is always again a Friday, or in the case of the 31st is a Thursday. That Monday of the week, you must have any kind of payroll changes in, if it's direct deposit slips, tax forms, anything like that, your mileage reimbursement, your manager has to have that approved by 5 p.m. All due on the Monday of the pay day or the pay week at 5 p.m. So please just keep that in mind. This schedule is also available on the intranet underneath help and resources whenever you need to look back at it. Now let's talk about PTO rules. You are eligible to use accrued PTO from the date of your hire. PTO will update each pay period. Manager approval is needed for scheduled time off with advance notice to ensure proper client care. Discuss with your manager how far in advance a request should be made. Each department is different. So some areas may request that you put it in a month in advance, some 2 weeks, some will take it 6 months early. So your manager is really going to be key in figuring how far in advance you should put that out. We do not go by seniority here. It is not by whoever's been here longest, but by first come, first serve. So the sooner you can get your date off in, the more likely you are to have it off. And your manager, again, has to go by the client proper care that is needed for the client. So you may be denied just based on whatever the client needs are. And then the last bullet here is PTO will be used for call-ins due to emergencies or illness up to the available amount. So your PTO will be taken to zero, but it will never be taken negative unless there's some sort of a temporary company allowance that permits it. That just means if you have a call-in for 8 hours and you only have 5 hours of PTO available, we will take your balance down to that zero, and then you'll start accruing it again. We won't take you to the -3 that it would have been if we took the full 8 hours. So the next slide is going to cover the paid time off schedule. Here you can see on the right how that works out. You will find your amount of hours that you worked, find the paid at least, but less than, and see where you're at in this little sliding scale. Most of us will be in the 79 hours or more. And then for the first year, which is circled here in red, you'll get 4.3 hours of PTO for each pay period that amounts to 79 hours or more. When you reach the beginning of your second year, which is 1 year and 1 day employed, you will bump to 5.3 hours max. And then the beginning of your 5th year is 7 hours, and the beginning of your 10th year is 8.6 hours. There's a maximum amount of hours during the year. For your first year, hours earned is 104 hours, and hours will be reached 1 to 2 pay periods before the time of service anniversary. Accruals will resume during the pay period that includes the anniversary date. So you can see here that your first year you can get 104, and then after that it's 128, 168, and then 208. There's also a maximum of carryover paid at the time of your anniversary. So the first year you can get 104 hours, and then every year after that it's 160 hours. If you exceed your 160 hours, the overage hours will be moved into a sick bank, which can be used if it is approved by Human Resources. This will usually be if you're on some sort of a leave or extended FMLA, you'll be able to take from your sick bank before using your PTO bank. And then if you ever terminate your employment at Special Tree, you give notice and actually work the notice that you gave. Or if you drop down from a full or part-time position to contingent, you will get paid out for up to 120 hours of PTO time. This information is available underneath Help and Resources. When you want to request paid time off, you want to contact your manager for the location of the time off request forms or print them from the intranet. You want to fill out the form completely, listing only days and hours to be paid through the slip. Do not list scheduled days to avoid processing errors. Submit completed forms to your manager for review. Any unscheduled time off will be completed by your manager and does not require your signature. And you want to confirm the time was entered into eTime Each Pay. So to look at the form, up top, you'll place your name, please print it, your team or your facility where you work, the dates that you're going to be absent. Again, as we mentioned, these are just the days that you need to use time off for, not your scheduled days. However many days or hours that you're taking off, this is going to be really helpful since everybody works a different shift. And then it says here, if you're requesting days that fall in more than one pay period, to please use an additional form. Just below that, it's asking you to circle the days that you're taking off. You'll notice this is week 1 and this is week 2. If your time off falls in week 2 and then starts another pay period in week 1, that's how you'll know you need to use a separate form. Underneath the types of absence, you'll be responsible for filling out the form. Over here on the left side, these are more of the scheduled types of absences, or at least more known. Over here on the right side is the unscheduled time off. And as we mentioned, your manager will be filling those out. That's going to cover any call-offs. We just track some reasoning here for looking for trends. Could also be for overstaffing. So not necessarily something that's going to cause discipline, just something that just was not planned too far in ahead. So if you did put your schedule in advance, you'll obviously check in this scheduled paid time off box. If you're wanting to use your personal holiday, which we'll be discussing shortly, any bereavement leave, or any jury duty leave. Down here in the comments, you can put any kind of notes to your manager that you'd like to use, or you would leave it blank. Whatever you feel comfortable with is totally up to you. If you fill that on the left side here, your signature and your date is required, along with your manager's signature and date. And then if it is unscheduled time off, then your manager needs to sign it and they will date it, but your signature is not required because that is how our policy works. So some extra information when we're talking about holidays, if you are a full-time staff, you will be eligible for 8 hours of holiday pay. And if you are a part-time staff, you're eligible for 4 hours of holiday pay. Contingent staff are not eligible for either. This is just regular pay at your base rate in addition to any hours that you may have worked on the actual day of the holiday. So those holidays are New Year's Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Easter, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving Day, Christmas Day, and then the last one is your personal holiday here. Talk more about that in just a moment. You'll notice that Easter has an asterisk by it. So over here on the right just gives more information about that. Administrative staff and most staff with Monday through Friday permanent schedules will receive the day after Thanksgiving paid in lieu of Easter pay. Those staff are already working Monday through Friday, so to pay them on a Sunday would give them 6 days of pay for the week. So they opted a long time ago to get that extra day off after Thanksgiving. For the personal holiday, it's 8 hours for full-time and 4 hours for part-time, and this can be gifted to another staff. You can either gift it to somebody or it can be gifted to you, which is actually a really great benefit that we have. The deal with the personal holiday, though, is that you cannot work on the day that you're trying to use it. It is just that it's a holiday. We want you to take the time off. Jury duty, when we're talking about jury duty, this is just the time that you're serving jury duty. If you receive a summons and you don't have to go, then you will not receive any jury duty pay. So you will have to schedule this with your manager in advance. They will have to give you the day off, but if you find out that you don't have to go to jury duty, you are welcome to try and fill a shift somewhere else, or use your PTO to take the day off still. So the company will pay up to 8 hours per day for full-time employees to a maximum of 40 hours per week at the base rate of pay to a minimum of 40 hours or 240 hours, excuse me. The company will pay up to 4 hours per day for part-time employees to a maximum of 20 hours per week at the base rate pay not to exceed 120 hours. Jury duty pay will be granted only for days normally scheduled to work. So if you are scheduled to work on a weekend, we know jury duty only runs Monday through Friday. You would still be expected to work those weekend days or have your shift adjusted with your manager. You must have the attendance letter saying that you actually did attend the jury duty. That summons letter is not good enough because, as we mentioned before, you may not have to serve based on a jury summons. Next, we'll touch on bereavement. For full-time and part-time employees who are bereaved by the death of an immediate family member, you can receive up to 24 hours of pay. Immediate family member relationships include spouse, parents, children, stepchildren, step-parents, parents-in-law, grandparents, brothers, sisters-in-laws, son or son and daughter-in-law, step-siblings, and grandchildren. While those are the only relationships that are covered by the bereavement pay, it does not mean if you have another relationship not listed here that passes away, we won't allow you to have the time off. You'll just have to use your PTO or maybe arrange your schedule so that you can have those days off with your manager, because we definitely want you to have the time that you need to take to grieve with your family or your loved ones. Now we'll take a look at e-time. To get into e-time, you will sign into ADP Workforce Now or use the ADP link on your desktop. Once you sign in, you'll locate the Enterprise e-time link under Quick Links and click where you see that. It's usually like a turquoise color, and it will take you into e-time. You will be able to access ADP Workforce Now from home or on your cell phone. However, you will not be able to enter e-time as that will be locked down. Here's a look at what your time card looks like. When you first log in, you'll see a 2-week pay period over here on the far left. If your manager's entered a schedule, you'll see that as well. Your in punches will be logged and your out punches. The pay code column will cover any paid time off for holidays, PTOs, or whatever else we would have as an option. We'll look a little deeper in the next screen. However many hours for those pay codes, it'll give you a daily amount total and then a period total. There's also a calendar view up here on the right Sometimes it will actually show you a calendar, but mostly you won't be needing to use it. It's not a function that we actually use here. Down here in the bottom right will be your timestamp. So unless you are at Livonia Student Center or NCC where you can swipe your badge, you'll need to log into the computer and click here where it says record timestamp. Once you click record timestamp, you'll click this refresh button above where it says period typically, and then it will actually log in your in or your out punch. Down here at the bottom is a double line and an arrow. Once you click that, it will expand this portion where you'll see totals, accruals, historical edits, and audits if those are available to you. The total columns will take any of the time that you were punched in up here and break it down into the different differentials that we previously discussed down at the bottom. You can also click on the accruals tab and look all the way over to the right, and it will give you your ending balance for your PTO or your personal holiday if you have any of that. And so anytime you need to see what your current balance is, that is how you'll look. Here's a sample of a time card with information in it. This is extreme. Yours normally won't look like this, but I wanted to make sure that you could see all the different things that might appear on your time card. So as we mentioned before, you'll have a 2-week period for the pay period over here on the left, a schedule if your manager has it loaded, your in punches, your out punches. So let's take a look here. This is an in punch at 7 a.m. and an out punch at 7 p.m. And if we go over here to the daily total, that is a 12-hour punch. Then the period total as well will show 12 hours. The next day was the holiday pay. So they received 8 hours of holiday pay. That totals to 8 hours here as well underneath daily. And then underneath the period, it takes the 12 and the 8 and totals it up to 20. Next, you'll see an in punch at 6:55 a.m. and a big red box. As this note here says, you want to alert your manager if you've missed any punches, and that's exactly what a big red box means. It means that you missed a punch. And because the punch was missed, if you look underneath the daily total, you won't see a total for the hours that day. That's because the system can't calculate how much to pay you since the punch was missed, and then it also does not change your period total. The next day when the person punched in again, it continues on, and you can see how it goes from there. Here's a sample of what PTO will look like. PTO no pay, which means you don't have enough PTO time to use in order to have that pay count. But we still do put it on your time card as a placeholder so we know when you were scheduled or when you took a requested day off. And then we also have bereavement and jury duty samples as well. And you can see that those all have totaled up to be your time on your time card. Also, you'll see some of these red eyes. This just means that you punched in or out over or under 10 minutes of your time part schedule. If you do not have a schedule in the system, you will continue to see the red eyes on every single shift that you work. Now, when it comes to the end of the time period, you want to review and approve your time card each pay period. One of the ways I like to do it is look down here at the bottom of the pay period and see how many hours are logged. Did I work 64.5 hours? I probably worked more than that since I have a missed punch here. And so you just want to make sure, touch base with your manager, that these hours are correct for you. And if they are not, definitely let them know. So you are the main person responsible for your time card being correct, and they should be reviewed on the Monday evening or Tuesday morning of each pay week. You'll want to contact your manager before noon on the Tuesday of the pay week if you have any adjustments to be made. And once you're satisfied with your time card, you should definitely approve it. This can be done in eTime or through the ADP mobile app. When you're wanting to do that, you'll click up top where it says Approve Time Card, and then you'll want to click Approve Time Card. This will yellow out your time card and not allow you to make any more changes to it. It will essentially lock your time for the pay period. The next slide contains a view for staff who work around 11 p.m. As we mentioned before, the day begins and ends at 11 p.m. here at Special Tree rather than midnight. So this person here punched in from 10:52 and they punched out at 7:05 a.m. Now this 10:52 p.m. to 11 p.m. is going to be paid on the previous pay period because this is still Saturday. Once Saturday at 11 p.m. hit, the day split and started to be Sunday. So you'll see the system splits here at 11 p.m. to 7:05 a.m. and that is going to count towards Sunday. Now on Sunday the 6th, this person came in at 10:57 p.m. and they worked until 7 a.m. This 10:57 to 11 is considered Sunday, just the same as just above 11 p.m. to 7:05 was also considered Sunday. So the system will take the hours from here and the hours from this day, they'll add them up and you'll get 8.13 hours. You can see the lines here illustrate the totals. The 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. is a new day, technically Monday, and that time will carry down. Now, before, the time was carrying straight across wherever you've seen the hours of the punches. Now, because it's adding in several days, you'll notice that the times are on the day or the line that says the day of the week that it is. So this is Monday. If I carry it across, it shows me 8 hours, but as this line illustrates, it bumps up just one line. And then it continues with the daily and the period total. Again, I recommend looking down here to see the total hours and see if it matches what you believe you worked for the period. If this looks very foreign to you, and it will just for a little bit because you're new, check with your other staff and have them look at it with you. They're used to looking at it and can definitely help you out. Your manager is also available to help you. And if that doesn't work, you are welcome to email me and I will send you a screenshot back similar to this one and just kind of help explain the hours for you. When it comes to getting paid, you have a few different options. You can have a personal checking account or a personal savings account, or we do offer a rapid pay card. The rapid pay card is like a checking account that can be used at merchants, just like a regular debit account or ATMs. However, you cannot load your own money onto it. It is for direct deposit only. We allow you to have up to 3 checking accounts and 3 savings accounts if you need us to split your money for you. The direct deposit request form is something that looks familiar because you would have filled it out on your onboarding day. To get this form, it's on the intranet underneath Help and Resources, and you can fill it out anytime you need to make a change, but it must be submitted by 5 p.m. on the Monday of the pay week. You'll fill out your name and date at the top along with your work location. Make sure you read through these instructions as they're very important. You'll print your name here and then fill in the information that goes along with what you're trying to do. So your checking account, savings account, or Chase payroll card, whatever it is that you are trying to add in, you'll check the appropriate box for. Fill out the bank name, put your routing number and your account number. How much do you want to go to this account? If it's 100%, go ahead and check that box. If it's anything less, just cross out the 100% and write in what you'd like. Or if there's a specific amount, you can set to that as well. Very important to check the corresponding boxes below. Are you wanting us to cancel your current information and add this information? Or do you want us to keep what you currently have and add this information above? So whichever of those options you're wanting, just make sure you let me know. You want to sign it and date it as well, and then you can either send it back to me by email or fax. Would be the best ways. And just in case to point it out, this important message here for your direct deposit elections to take effect immediately, a copy of a voided check must be attached to this completed form. If there is no check account information, will be entered and sent out for verification. That will delay your request for one pay. So you can either include a voided check, some banks give direct deposit information, or even a screenshot with your account and your routing number on it. It just cannot be handwritten, whatever you're turning in. Otherwise, the system will need to pre-note and it will make a paper check, and paper check will be mailed to your home, and that will delay the time that you're going to get paid. So you always want to include that second piece of information anytime that you are changing your direct deposit. And otherwise, you may request the check to be held for pickup at my office on South Huron River Drive in Romulus, or we will be mailing them. You can also do a paycheck voucher overview. For paychecks and W-2s, they're available on ADP Portal or the app for 3 years. They include previous employers who used ADP services as well. You'll log into ADP, click on Myself, and then Pay, and you'll choose either pay statements or annual statements. For annual statements, you'll see the blue links of the years. It usually holds 3 years. I've been noticing it holds a little bit more now. And all you'll do is click into one of those and you'll get the W-2s for the corresponding year. It also gives you your 1095-C, which is just a form saying that you had insurance or not. If you selected pay statements, it will look similar to the screen here, where you'll locate the pay date that you are wanting to review. You'll click on View Check and you'll get a copy of the pay stub. That again looks very similar to what's on the screen here. For your very first check, we want you to make sure that you're confirming your name and address is correct. We always want to make sure we're doing this so that we are recording your paid taxes to the correct locations and there's no mix-up when it comes time to file. We also want you to check your tax filing status is correct. That's usually right here to the left of your name for your federal. And if it's not showing here, you can look on the right side underneath additional tax withholding information. That will show your state and your local taxes as well if you are qualifying for those. You'll also see the earnings just below, which will show all of those differentials that we looked at before, what the rate is that you were making during those times, how many hours you spent working in those differentials, and then how much money was paid for this period. So it would take your rate times your hours and then give you the period total. All of the period totals add up to your gross pay, and you'll see that in this instance, it's $1,943.18. We also do a running year-to-date total so that you are able to see how those are adding up for you as well. Just below that would be your deductions, including your statutory deductions for income tax, Social Security and Medicare, state, city tax, any of those, and any benefit deductions as well, which show underneath your deductions area. Once your deductions are taken out, you're left with your net pay. So you can see the difference between your gross and your net. And it will even show you how your checks are deposited into your different accounts. You can also see your other benefits and information, which would be where your PTO is. You should see this go up every pay period, or if you used more than you had available, it may go down accordingly. Here you'll also see your time card detail. In case you didn't check your e-time, you'll see that here as well. However, if you are somebody who works around that 11 p.m. hour, I recommend you check back in e-time. It can be a little confusing as you'll see 2 sets of ins and out punches. Next, I want to talk about gift cards and bonuses that you may receive while you're working here. Some of those might be from OnShift that we're going to talk about. They might be from the Carrot Rewards app. It may just be a bonus that you get just from the company. So those kinds of things need to be recorded by the by your taxes on your W-2s. And in order to do that, it's going to look something similar to this. So first you'll see that it is paid as an earnings and it is taxable. So first here you see this on-shift reward underneath your earnings for $10. And then we subtract it in the deductions area for the on-shift reward appears again and it is negative $10. So we are not taking $10 from your check. We're first placing it on your check and then we're removing it so that all you're left with is your taxes. The government says that any money that we give you, gift card or otherwise, is taxable income. So unfortunately, we do have to do this. It's about 76 cents in taxes on every $10 that you earn. So it's definitely still a good portion that you're getting. Gift cards and bonuses, you'll receive a separate check for the full amount, and then the gift cards will go on your pay stubs so that you can see that those were issued. Next, we'll talk about mileage. Locate your form in the new hire packet. We'll look at this form to see if you were eligible for mileage or not. Mileage is paid for miles driven above the drive to and from your normal work location or from one special tree location to another in your personal vehicle. In the sample, the staff drives from home to Livonia Student Center is 40 miles. Their drive to their normal work location is 18.6 miles. The staff will be paid 21.4 miles each way the overage is driven. Mileage is paid per IRS recommendations. For 2020, this is 58 cents per mile. So again, just to recap, the home to Middle Belt or the Livonia Student Center in this case was 40 miles. Home to normal work location was 18.6 miles. You'll subtract your number 1 answer by your number 2 answer, and what you're left with in this case is 21.4 miles. So feel free to use the form that you have in your packet to see if you were eligible for or not. So if the difference is a positive number, you are eligible for reimbursement. If the number is a negative, then you are not eligible for reimbursement. Now here's how you'll account for your mileage for reimbursement. On the desktop, you'll locate the icon for eForms. It looks like a little notepad and says eForms right below it. And then once the web page opens up, you'll find expense reports, submit expense reports, and you'll click on that. So mileage reimbursement must be approved by your manager at 5 p.m. on Monday of the pay week, and you want to be sure to complete it with enough time to allow your manager to do so. You have to submit your mileage on any special tree computer. You will not be able to do this from home. Once the mileage report opens up, you'll notice at the top that the date that you're working on is already filled in for you, as well as your name. It's very important to make sure that this is your name so that you're not giving mileage to someone else. You'll also fill in your facility, your position, and your team, and it is not uncommon for the facility and the team to be the same. Down below, it will give you one area to start filling in, and then you'll click on Insert Item for each trip or day that you need to fill in. So you'll fill in the date, and then you'll notice it asks for the start and end location and business purpose and gives you 3 boxes. So the start location is usually going to be your home. If you could please give us your address here for verification, that would be great. Your end location can be whatever end special tree it is. You don't need to put the address here. On the example, I typed in LSC. It stands for Livonia Student Center. And then the business purpose is training. You can watch your odometer and enter in your start and end mileage. It will fill this in for you. Or you can look it up through Google or your phone GPS just to see what that ends up being. So in the previous example, it was 42.8 miles for a round trip. You do need to check this round trip box just to verify why your mileage was so high. And then once you start skipping down to the next box, it's going to take your mileage times that 58 cents and it will give you your total amount. And again, that may adjust by year. You will then fill in any other additional days. Each of these fields below are copy and paste friendly, so it can be filled out so fast, except for the date column. You will have to fill in that individually. So as it goes on, you'll see your total adding up here, and that is section A. For section B, this includes meals, lodging, and entertainment, and other travel expenses. This area we will skip for now. It is something that if you do spend money out of pocket, you will discuss with your manager before you do it. So always save your receipts, but it's so few and far between that you'll actually be filling this in. It's best to just cover it at the time that you need to do it. Okay, so that is A and B, and then sections A and B will add up and give you your total here. You'll then need to put your manager's name into the approvers space. To do that, you'll click on the little booklet here, find their name, select it, click OK to enter it in. You'll see the options to submit, save, or cancel. Since you've just done all this work, chances are you won't be canceling, so let's focus on submit and save. If you are all done, if you're filling all these out, up top, all of this information for mileage, after the time has already happened, you are good to go ahead and click submit. If you are filling this out in advance, you do have to wait for the days to actually happen, as we don't always know what the future holds. So you'll click on save and come back to it later. Once you do submit it, you will get an email letting you know it was submitted, and then you'll also get another email when the manager actually approves it. To return to the report, you'll go to that eForms again. This time, instead of going to submit expense reports, you'll go up top to My eForms portal, click on expense reports, and go over to the portal page. At the top, you'll have waiting for approval, and it will show you any that are waiting for your manager to approve. In the center, you'll have in process, where you can click the blue link to finish up on whichever one you were working on. And then down at the bottom is completed forms, where you can see all of your past history forms. Again, this is due by Monday at 5 p.m. of the pay week. So make sure you check with your manager with how far in advance you need to submit that, so that they are able to complete it by 5 p.m. because it's not you that needs to turn it in. It is your manager by 5 p.m. So you need to allot time for that to happen. Now we'll talk about OnShift. OnShift is a 3-part program designed to improve scheduling needs and offer employees some awesome perks. OnShift is available for RSTs, day treatment team members, dietary, housekeeping, laundry, and activity non-exempt staff. Please confirm with your manager if you are eligible. Part 1 is on-shift scheduling. This will allow staff to see their schedule, communicate with their manager, and get notifications about open shifts. Eligible employees will receive more information on this from their manager. Part 2 is on-shift engage. Engage is an additional part of the scheduling feature that keeps track of your great work, like arriving to work on time, completing scheduled shifts, and reaching employment milestones. Basically, you'll earn points for just being you. For every 200 points earned, you'll receive a $10 gift card or other treat as offered by your department. Eligible employees will receive more information on this from their manager. Part 3 is OnShift Wallet. This is a standalone app that allows you to access the pay you've already earned before payday. Please watch this video for more information.
Now let's review OnShift Wallet. Please note, not all features seen in this demo may be enabled or available for your OnShift account. OnShift Wallet, powered by Payactiv, is a financial wellness app that helps you achieve work-life balance by providing you instant access to up to 50% of your net earned wages before payday. OnShift Wallet is not a credit product. Only use what is already yours. Now you can avoid late fees, overdraft fees, and predatory lenders by accessing earned but unpaid income. You can also securely pay bills online, access discounts, and receive financial tips and advice. Android and iPhone users can log into OnShift Wallet through the OnShift mobile app. To start utilizing OnShift Wallet, all you have to do is enroll, and there is no cost to do so. Once downloaded, click the Enroll tab. Enter your first name, last name, mobile number, and employee ID. If you don't know your employee ID or are experiencing any issues with enrolling, please contact your HR department and they can confirm your ID and name. When you first log in, you will see your available balance and the multiple features available to you. The available balance is calculated daily and is 50% of your earned but unpaid wages less any applicable taxes up to $500. OnShift Wallet allows you to access these wages to help with payments and avoid late or overdraft fees. Please note there is a $5 membership fee for accessing funds through transactions. You will be notified upon successful transaction via text message or email confirmation. Be sure to check out OnShift Wallet's employee discounts to help with your day-to-day expenses. In addition, take advantage of OnShift Wallet's free financial counseling services and tips to help with financial decision-making. Manage your account preferences by updating your credentials and notification method. Notifications are specific to OnShift Wallet. If you have any questions about OnShift Wallet or need assistance, you can chat with OnShift Wallet support or...
Now that you've seen the video, here's some additional information that you need to know about OnShift Wallet. First off, it's private. You simply enroll yourself using the instructions in your new hire packet and get started. SpecialTree will never know if or how much advancement you take. Not all bank accounts are compatible to receive money. Known exclusions include the Rapid Pay card and some Chime bank accounts. Advance up to $100 your first time and then increase by $100 increment up to a maximum of $500. That means your first pay that you choose to use it, you can get up to $100. After that is returned, you can advance $200 and so on until the $500 maximum is reached. Your pay will enter your account on the morning of the payday as normal, and OnShift will deduct the advancement and membership fee in the afternoon. So if you advanced $100, they will take $105 to cover that membership fee. And then lastly, contact OnShift for any questions directly at 877-937-6966 or through the app. Thanks for taking this time to review payroll with me. Remember, my name is Cathy Wojtas. I'm your payroll clerk here at SpecialTree. My phone number is 734-893-1160. My email is kathywojtas@specialtree.com. And my office is in Romulus at 16018 South Huron River Drive. And that again is Romulus 48174. Thank you.